guys, it's Jessica Leichtweisz. I am the CEO of Hope Education Services, and if you don't know who I am, I've been working with families with autism just like yours for more than 11 years. Every week I come back here, I do Facebook Lives, and I come and help your family to help your child with autism get the most out of ABA and just really make the greatest potential they can for themselves. So tonight I'm going to be talking about a topic that can be really, really important for families, and that's how to increase your child's compliance during an ABA session so they get the most out of it. Now, if you don't know what ABA is, it stands for Applied Behavior Analysis. It's the only research-based treatment for kids with autism and can be really, really effective. So in ABA, we do two things. Number one is we work on reducing behaviors we don't want to see. And number two is we want to increase behaviors we do want to see. So for example, we're decreasing things like tantruming or non-compliance, and we're increasing things like talking, appropriate social skills, or play skills. Now, for every parent who has a child with autism, almost every parent, especially if your child was just diagnosed and is just learning to talk, the biggest concern is typically language, right? You want your child to learn to talk. That's the most important thing for almost everybody on this page. And that's what you want to happen during your ABA session. But here's the issue. If your child is engaging in a lot of tantrum behaviors and a lot of non-compliance, it reduces the amount of time that your therapist can spend to teach your child how to talk, and thus it'll make the session a little bit less effective. So here's a strategy that you can use, your therapist can use, in order to increase that compliance. So that is simply a token board. Now, I made one to show you. This is actually a setup that I really like to use. Now, I actually made this for this video. Sorry, I'm trying to figure out how to hold it in the frame. Here we go. I've actually made this for this video. I don't recommend getting one that's so busy. I just put this together about a minute before I popped onto this video. Using the back, I thought about that, but using the back might be a good idea. So I would just get a plain clipboard, but this is an example of one I really, really like to use. So the point of a token board is for delayed reinforcement. Now, 2 points of a token board. Number one is delayed reinforcement. It's going to get a child to work longer for a longer period of time before they gain access to a reinforcer. But the other idea is that if they know exactly what's going to be expected of them, they're going to be most likely to comply. So what this will do, this token board, it allows them something to work for. So first, they have to get their tokens, and then they get what their activity is. So their picture would be doing a preference assessment, and if you don't know what that is, look for my video at parenttrainingvideos.com. That's my YouTube channel. There's a video on preference assessments. So you're going to let a child pick what they're working for, and then they're going to be able to get their 5 tokens in order to get their, in this case, train. So every time they would engage in a correct response, you'd put a token on. And once they get all 5 tokens, then they're able to go and play with their train. So there's a couple tips that I can give you in order to make token boards really effective. Number one is to always make sure you're including the visual of what the child's working for. This is really important because children with autism are very visual learners. It also will make sure they understand that what they're working for, that you're not denying them access to it, you're just asking them to do something first. The other thing is consistency, making sure that the token board is being consistently used. Now, when you're using a token board, when you first start off with the token board, you're going to want to give the kids the tokens very quickly and very easily for very basic skills, just to get them to understand the concept. You might, when you first introduce this, you might get some protest because they're not really sure what it's for. But once they get the idea, they're very likely to like it and to increase compliance because they're going to know they're not actually saying no and taking things away. They're going to know what they need to do. So in the beginning, you want to use what's called a continuous schedule of reinforcement, where you're giving them 1 token for every response. After they get the concept, or if you're working on things that are a little bit less challenging, then you can actually go onto a delayed schedule of reinforcement, or an intermittent schedule of reinforcement, we call it, where you might be giving them a token once every few responses. So in the beginning, they might be getting a break every 30 seconds to a minute, or, and then later you can even make it through sitting for an hour. They're only getting a token every 5-10 minutes for good work. Depends on how old they are, what their behavior level is, and what their skill level is. But this is a really, really effective method for teaching compliance. Now, there's a few things that I did want to just give you, some practical tips on just making a token board, and then also just some other simple tips on using a token board. Now, when it comes to making a token board, it does not have to be elaborate. It does not have to be expensive. You can do it pretty much on anything. Again, this clipboard was not intended for token board. I wouldn't do something so busy because it's a little bit confusing to kids. But otherwise, I like just using pennies. Pennies are really effective. They're easy. You don't have to go crazy printing things up. I find if you're printing pictures, like back in the day, I would use laminated little pictures of like the child's favorite, Mickey Mouse, and that could work, especially if you're a child who really doesn't have a lot of buy-in. You can do that, but you do have to typically keep replacing them because with the Velcro and putting it on and off, they do tend to break very easily. But there is a tip. Number one, if your child is really non-compliant and they have a favorite TV show or a favorite character, you can actually use those pictures in order to make it happen. The second thing is to start off with a small amount of tokens. So I started off with 5 tokens. You can even, when you're first teaching this, okay, we're going to get 5 tokens, but you're only taking 1 off. You don't always have to take off all 5 tokens. So let's say that your child's in the middle of a major tantrum and you want to use this token board to regain compliance and have them calm down. Don't take off all 5 tokens, because if they're in the middle of a major tantrum, the concept or prospect of getting 5 tokens may be really small and it may be too challenging for them. Just take off 1 and say, look, I know you really want your, whatever it is they're working for, their train. Okay, so you just need to clap your hand once, and then you're using this to get them that token and gain that compliance. You can use this token board and bring it out even if they're having a tantrum to show them what they can get if they stop having the tantrum. The second thing is, if you want to increase the amount of tokens, you can. So I made 5 token boards because I probably won't be using this one, to be honest with you. It's just too busy, and I already can see that the Velcro, it's not staying on here. So that probably isn't to switch out the Velcro. But so if I were to be using this, I was using this intended for a small child, so I'm using 5. You can use for an older child, you can use 10, especially if you have a child that really they need every token for every response. You can go up to like 20 tokens and in order as a way to delay the actual gratification and how much work they do before they get access to their train. So you can either give 1 token for every 5 responses, or you can just pour more tokens and give them a token for every response. It really doesn't make a difference. Whatever is working best for you and your family. So some practical tips. Now, I just wanted to say this. Be mindful of the token size that you're using. In the event that you have a small child, be careful. It's a choking hazard. If I was working, would not give this to a 2-year-old because they could choke on their pennies. So, excuse me, guys. Sorry about that. This is why it's a live video, right? So in the event that you have a small child, again, be careful with what you're using in terms of giving them, you don't want to obviously create an unsafe situation. Now, either way, this is where I was going with that. You do not want to let your children have access to this token board. You're the only one should have this or touch this. They should not have any control over the token board. Sometimes it's okay to let children put the tokens on. Even then, I don't think it's a very good idea. You're the one who always needs to be controlled. The therapist, the parent, whoever's working with a child, they're always in control of the tokens. This is like your control. This is where they're listening to you. This is not something that they might have a lot of control over. What they do get control over is what they're working for, and certainly letting them put this picture on there, that's fine. If you have a child who is like compliant or a little bit older and understands the token board, they've been using it for a while, then sometimes I'll give them the token and say, okay, you can put your token on, or even just have them on the table and let them pick it up and put it on. But that's just something that you do want to be mindful of. But other than that, this is a really, really great strategy. If you have any questions about it, just put them in the comments of this video. If there's anything that I missed, you have any questions on how to use it with your child or with your family, I am more than happy to answer them. Oh, one last little practical tip. So you'll notice on the tokens, right, you have the Velcro. This little kind of practical thing, I've been working in the field for a really long time. Use the soft side. Anytime you're creating visuals or pictures, always use the soft side for the thing that you're attaching it to, because the that hard stuff will get stuck to your shirt and you'll wind up losing it and needing to continuously replace it. So that's just a really practical tip that I've been picked up doing this for 11 years. So I hope that you love this video. If you have any other questions, I am more than happy to answer them. If you're watching this live, just chat them in here. If you are watching this on YouTube, then just chat them in, put it in a comment of the YouTube channel. I read and respond to all of the comments in the channel. And I often tell parents, these are the cards. If you ask a question on the YouTube channel, I put it down on one of these cards. Anytime I have a few extra minutes throughout the day, throughout the week, sometimes I'll do one video, sometimes I'll do up to 4 or 5 videos in a week, depending upon how busy my week is. But all of these questions actually that I'm answering, all these videos come from parent questions, usually written in the comments of these videos. So I do respond, and I will answer all of the questions that you have. If I personally can't answer it, I also have a podcast, and I will typically try to find a professional and record a podcast for you to get your questions answered. That's really why I do this, is really to help families and really get all the questions you have as a parent answered, so you know how to best help your child. If you're on here for the first time, thank you. If you're one of my many loyal subscribers to the YouTube channel, thank you as well for coming back. If you want to be a subscriber to the YouTube channel, you can just check us out at parenttrainingvideos.com. If you love this content, you want to reach out to me in another way, I have a free gift for you on my website. It's Hope Education Services. If you go under free resources, I have books on there. There's 4 of them. You can pick one of them and download them for free. That's my gift for you at no cost to your family. I have a book on there about getting your child to try new foods. I have a book on there about potty training, about helping your child with self-awareness and self-esteem, a little bit of information on ABA. And I have a 5th book I'm going to be putting on about going to school for the first time as a child with autism. So there's tons and tons of free resources on there. It's my gift for you and your family. I hope to see you guys again soon. I hope to hear from you and to, again, interact with you via the chat and the videos. And I look forward to answering more questions next week. Make it an amazing one. Take care.